Hi, I'm Steve Sandifer. Welcome to the Howard branch of the Santa Fe. Now, this is September the 27th, 2020, and we have been in the middle of COVID. Most of my upper deck has been completed for quite some time, but I've taken advantage of the last year to build the lower staging and the lower deck. So let me give you a preview of that, as you also can look at the upper deck that's pretty well finished. Lower deck staging consists of two areas. This is our 9 tracks that represent everything west of the town of Emporia, Kansas. Down at the end, there is a helix that brings it up to the operating level. And on this side, there are 8 more tracks that represent everything east of Emporia. And likewise, there is a helix at the end that brings it up to the operating level. All of these tracks are controlled by little 556 IC circuits, so that one button, along with a diode matrix, connects everything together. There is a control panel on this end, so that I can, in restaging, control them from the throats of the staging yard. And there's another control panel in the doorway of the room that allows me to control all the staging yard without being in the middle of the room affecting everybody else. The little lights indicate if the track is occupied or not, if there's power on the track, and then the camera gives me the option of looking and seeing what it actually looks like down in the staging area. Trains enter staging at this opening and enter into the town of Emporia. The whole lower level is the town of Emporia. The other hole over here is where the trains come out from the Howard branch, which is the upper deck. And that track comes around here. There will be a tower at this location, which is called NR Junction. Just off of the Howard branch are two bulk oil dealers, the Mid-Continent and the Sinclair. Here in the middle is the large Kansas soybean mill. In the background is Smith Lumber, and in the very foreground will be the Texaco dealer. The soya mill also ships soybean oil, and so it will have its own tank loading facility. Coming out of the east end, we then go through downtown. There is one structure there that will be served by the railroad, which is Proler Mercantile. And then on this side, there will be flats up against the edge of the layout that represent the Jensen Ice Plant, Jensen Produce, and then down here in the curve, there was a Rich Coal Company. Then we come to the depot. This depot represents 1970. I'm modeling 1952. But the depot came off of Steve Priest's previous layout, and I will be backdating it as I can. I think it's a beautiful model. Next to it will be the REA building, and then over here will be the freight house. The freight house has two tracks that will hold 3 cars each. In the corner is Ready Mix Company, and in the foreground will be the roundhouse and turntable. I have left those out for the present because I'm working on the deep scenery and they would be in the way. Then we come to Ersic Dahl, which was a large grain elevator, and the throat of our yard. The yard is a sizable one. I'm sorry, I'm in construction, so things are sort of in a mess. But there will be 2 departure-arrival tracks, 1 caboose track, all of those double-ended, then 6 classification tracks, 2 tracks at the RIP track, and then we get over to where the stock feeding station will be. Emporia had a very large livestock feeding station with a capacity of about 400 cars of livestock. Needless to say, I can't duplicate that. But this whole white area here will be the livestock feeding station. There'll be a large sheep barn. I think there's 10 cattle pens there, and then it's served by 4 tracks. There will be 5 unloading ramps, 2 for small animals and the other 3 for the larger animals. The small animals have a double-deck loading chutes. The 4 tracks will include an unloading track, a storage track, a clean-out track, and a bedding track. It has its own elevator and barn, and then next to it will be the RIP track. In the background will be Merrick Tower, which marks the west end of Emporia. Anderson Cattle Feeding. Anderson had their own large elevator. And then there's the Hatcher Sales Barn, which was a livestock sales barn. People ask, this is a railroad. I don't see any cars. No, my cars have all been tuned up. All the trucks adjusted, couplers adjusted, everything working perfectly, and then stuck in staging where they are out of the way of dust. When you're ballasting and laying track and working on constructing the layout, there's just an awful lot of dust that gets circulated, and I don't need that right now. When I get everything ballasted, then I'll clean the track and be ready to go into operations again. I have a number of control panels. This is the one for the yard itself. All of the black buttons are for tortoise turnouts. All of the red ones are for electromagnetic uncouplers. My electromagnetic uncouplers are connected to a timer circuit. So if, for instance, I push this button number 14, you'll notice a red LED comes on. That red LED indicates that that uncoupler is energized and working, and it will stay on for 10 seconds and then go off. These timers are available from China. They cost me $1.50 a piece and have variable time from 1 second to like 99 minutes. So they are very helpful, and I'm using them all over the railroad. This is a control panel for this same area, and you may notice that this set of tracks is duplicated on this panel and the yard panel because it might be used by several different people. And using the one button little circuits, you can connect as many buttons to a turnout as you wish to duplicate the way it's thrown. And the green lights then would indicate how a turnout is thrown at any given time. So this is the double-deck Howard branch of the Santa Fe with Eureka, Climax, Small, and Moline on the top, and one town, Emporia, on the bottom. I hope by the end of 2020 to be back in an operating mode, though I don't know if COVID will allow operations at that point. And maybe in November of 2021, you can come and see the Howard branch for yourself. Thank you for tuning in.